Hey guys, what's going on? Vega here from Serpent Special Forces. Today I'm going to be doing a teardown on my Acer Predator Helios 300 laptop. I get the Triton and Helios mixed up. But I've been running liquid metal on this laptop for quite some time, and the temperatures are rising, which I'll show you in a little bit. And it's just time to reapply some regular thermal paste, which you can use. I recommend Thermal Grizzly's Cryonaut. I have the Cryonaut Extreme. You don't necessarily need this expensive thermal paste, but I already have it, so I'm going to use it. And also, there was a situation with the thermal pads, which I'm going to explain. I am about to go live and do a live stream about this. So this video is just a summarization of what I found and how liquid metal has held up after a year and some change on a laptop. As you can see, we have the bottom cover off now. We have access to all the components that we need to. Primarily the heatsink screws, a few. They're all numbered here for the GPU and CPU. We need to take those off to gain access to the CPU die and the GPU die. I've done a full video on this particular laptop. I have it linked in the description below. But let me go ahead and continue to tear this down. Previously, I used a nail polish, which I'll have linked in the description below, to protect the SMDs around both the GPU and CPU to make sure that the liquid metal does not, overspill and make any type of connections, because that could be a problem. Also, you can see that the memory modules, instead of having thermal pads, I put thermal paste. Originally, the laptop came with thermal putty, not thermal pads. We're going to be replacing, or attempting to replace, if I have the right size, the thermal paste for thermal pads, and then trying to put the Cryonaut Extreme on both the GPU and CPU. But you can see how it's kind of adhered to the cold plate or the heatsink, which is copper, and that's making a very rough surface. So we're gonna have to fix that. Currently, I have sanded and prepped the heat sinks or cold plate. It's unfortunate, but liquid metal is gonna stain the heatsink or cold plate, so you're not going to see that true copper again, but it is flat and smooth, even though it doesn't look to be any copper coming through. So it would still get the job done. I went ahead and replaced the thermal paste with thermal pads. Right now I'm using 1mm. I did have 0.5, but it looked like 0.5 wasn't making significant contact or sufficient contact to these raised heat sinks for the memory modules, and you could see the original thermal putty was pink. Obviously there's nothing pressing down on it because it goes in this area right here, but we're going to add the thermal paste to the GPU and CPU die and put everything back together and compare how temps are. And there's the thermal application. A little bit messy. Had to build it up a little bit based on the height. It's kind of hard to see, but based on the height of the thermal pads, because I was concerned that the thermal pads may add too much height to where now we're not making contact with the heatsink for the GPU die and CPU die. So let's see if I'm wrong or right and get this thing together. So the laptop booted right up, no problems whatsoever, so that's always a good sign. And the idle temps are about the same as they were before, but really what's going to come down to is what are the temps after the fact. What are the temps during gaming? What are the temps during encoding? All that stuff. So I'm actually going to put all that data for you together in a chart, and we're going to compare temperatures, as it was prior till now, and then you can decide. But my personal recommendation is to definitely not use liquid metal on a laptop if you're one that you wouldn't be able to maintain it. Liquid metal is something you want to change maybe every year or on a regular basis for maintenance, and you're just better off going with some type of good thermal paste application. I used the best of the best, but it's not really necessary. Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut Extreme is very expensive, so just get yourself some Cryonaut or some good thermal efficiency thermal paste of some type and replace the stock with that. And then, obviously I replaced the thermal paste that I had to on the memory modules with actual thermal pads. It looks like 1 mil is the right size for this particular model, which I'll have linked down below. And if you need any other resources or information, check all the links in the description. And I hope you have a wonderful day. So let me leave you with the charts and the numbers that I got after some testing with this laptop. Compare before and after. And hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe for more content. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Take care.
That's half their forces eliminated. No time to rest.